wait to wake you need your hand away, break a thin seal. I kick your home back in your door, keep fucking me low, and you set me on. Downside some time, it's calling me you. Lost in the night with a dull image. Some kiss waves, your eyes holding mine, cutting hue, the music time.
Well, happy Sunday, and welcome to Dave's After Hours Trivia Club Live. Step inside the lounge, grab your drink of choice, and settle in. Here at Dave's After Dark, we stir up some memories, we test your smarts, and maybe, just maybe, we do teach you something new along the way. Now, we do go live most Sundays, and even sometimes on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern and 4 p.m. Pacific time. Now, the doors swing open, the lights go down low, and the trivia starts to flow. Now, we do have a very special show lined up tonight. We will travel through 5 different rounds of famous historical figures. Each round presents 10 of the most famous in their era or category. Our robots will quickly paint each scene. I will serve up a few clues, and you will take your best guesses as we move through tonight's 5 historical legends categories. First will be the top figures from ancient Greece. Then we'll do the top figures from Egypt. Well, get those backwards. Then we'll do the top figures from ancient Rome. Then we'll do the 10 European figures from the Middle Ages. And finally, round 5, we'll do the top 10 explorers from the Age of Discovery. Now, this isn't just a trivia show, it's a fast-paced gauntlet of art, memory, and mystery. Let's see how many you can guess before the brush finishes its final stroke. Now, I did want to quickly mention our sponsor, davidhansenart.com. That's my website, of course, and you're seeing some of the art as we speak right here. Anyway, if you go to the link on my channel or at davidhansenart.com, you can check out our wares. Anyway, be sure to check in down in the chat. Say hello. This is where you'll throw out your guesses, or you can just hang out with the crew. Hello, Arita. Glad you're here, or it's good to have an early bird. All right, well, let's get going. Let's fire up those robots and leave no grass to grow and start our first round. Now, I think you guys know the rules. The robots do the painting around here, and you do the guessing. And I do give some clues along the way. Now, we're going to be doing the top 10 figures from ancient Egypt here. So remember, we're going way back in time, 10 most famous people from ancient Egypt. Okay? They're pretty famous. Number 10. Now, this gentleman was a commoner who rose to legendary status and was later worshipped as a god. He's known as the earliest recorded architect and physician in history. I like him already. Now, he's the one who designed the step pyramid of Dozier at Saqqara, if you guys are familiar with that. Hey, Sandra, how are you? Glad you're in the house. You know your Egypt? This is number 10. He was revered by later Greeks as a healer, like their god, Asclepius. His name lived on in Hollywood as a recurring mummy villain. Who knows? Who remembers who the villain in the Mummy was? He's an architect. It's that pyramid and dozier. Anybody know? There he is. This is number 10 on our famous figures from ancient Greece. Going once, going twice. So this is Mr. Imhotep. Imhotep, actually the 27th century BC, so way back. Imhotep was so admired that 2,000 years after his death, Egyptians were still offering him prayers. He was a rock star architect. There you go. All right, number nine. Now, this lady was married to one of Egypt's greatest warrior pharaohs. I'll give you the date to help out a little bit. Now, this is 1290 to 1255 BC. So, quite a while ago, but not nearly as long ago as Imhotep. Often shown the same size as her husband in statues, which was rare for women. Her tomb is among the most beautifully preserved in the Valley of Queens. Now, she worshipped Hathor and Isis, deeply religious and politically connected. Her name means beautiful companion. Beautiful companion. Now, any guesses? Married to one of Egypt's greatest warrior pharaohs. Number 9 on our famous ancient Egyptians list. They get easier. They do get easier. All right, going once, going twice. This one sold for Nefertari. Not Nefertiti, Nefertari. Nefertari's lavish tomb features a stunning mural of her playing a board game. There you go. Nefertari. All right. I swear they're going to get easier. We'll see. Maybe not right away. Number 8. Now, this gentleman was 1353 to 1336 BC. A while back. And he did rule Egypt during the 18th dynasty. And he broke with centuries of tradition. He actually abandoned polytheism in favor of worshiping a single sun disk god. He built a new capital city and called it Amarna. I need to buy a vowel. He was the father to a boy pharaoh who reversed his reforms. Little brat. He is known as the heretic pharaoh. And this had to do with the sun god Aten, right? Anybody remember any of this stuff? Any of this sound familiar? No. Doesn't sound familiar at all, huh? Well, they do get easier. Hang on to your hats. Now, this gentleman is Mr. Akhenaten. Akhenaten's oddly elongated face and body in art has sparked wild theories, from genetic disorders to alien ancestry. There you go. That's what he's known for. All right. Now you know this one. Number 7. I know you know this one. She was the last active ruler of the Ptolemaic dynasty. Or as I like to say, Ptolemaic dynasty. She spoke multiple languages and saw herself as the reincarnation of Isis. She saw herself as the reincarnation. She had a high profile relationship with both Julius Caesar and Mark Antony. I think you know who this is. She famously ended her life with an asp, according to legend. Her dramatic reign inspired Shakespeare and Hollywood alike. Yay, Standing's in the house. Good to see you, man. And yes, you are correct. You are correct as well, Sam. This one is Cleopatra, which I knew you knew this. Cleopatra wasn't Egyptian by blood. She was Macedonian Greek, but still ruled Egypt better than most native-born pharaohs. There she is, Cleopatra. Now, Cleopatra was the last active ruler. She was 69 to 30 BC, so just before we wrote 0 hour. Hey, Mac, this one's Cleo. You're correct. There she is. Good looking lady. All right, now you should know this one too. Number 6. Number 6. Now the date is 1341 to 1323 BC. He came to power around the age of 9. His reign was brief, but symbolic of a return to traditional gods. Yeah. Doctor coming in with his short answer. Mac, you're right as well. The discovery of his tomb made global headlines in 1922. He's best known today as the Boy King. Yes, here he is, Mr. Tutankhamun, the Boy King. You're correct. Tutankhamun's tomb curse may be overblown, but his golden mask launched worldwide Egypt obsession that still echoes today. Yeah. Good to see you, Doctor. As I always say, it's always good to have a doctor in the house. Just in case. You never know. We are doing historic figures, so we're going back in time. There he is, the Boy King. Yeah, he thinks it's all a joke. All right, top 5. Top 5 famous ancient Egyptians. Now I'd say this is the least of the 5 for sure. Good luck. This one's known as the Napoleon of ancient Egypt. He had military genius. I can't really recognize him yet. He expanded Egypt's empire through 17 successful campaigns. Good general. He ruled jointly for years under the shadow of his stepmother. Oh, that sounds rough. That's why he's so angry. You'll see later. He's an angry man, holding a lot of angst. He later erased her images from temples and monuments. Well, of course. One of Egypt's most powerful warrior pharaohs. So there you go. One of Egypt's most powerful pharaoh warriors. Anybody know? You know who his stepmom was? Hatshepsut. It was his mother-in-law. Yeah. Oh, who knows? No, Cheops. This is Thutmose the Third. Thutmose. Thutmose, does that sound familiar to anybody? No? Okay, that's all right. Look, he's angry. He's angry. Was it his stepmother? Yeah, it was his stepmother, not his mother-in-law, his stepmother. There you go. All right, you know this lady. Famous for the bust. Not her breasts. Her bust. Her bust is one of the most iconic works of ancient art. She is believed to have ruled as pharaoh under different name after her husband's death. She supported the monotheistic Aten worship alongside her husband. Oh, so she was the wife of Akhenaten. Remember, we saw Akhenaten earlier. This is his wife. She vanished from the historical record mysteriously. Yes, you guys know this one. Doctor, standing. You are correct. Correct. Her name means the beautiful one has come. There you go. And she's famous for her bust. The famous bust of Nefertiti may be over 3,300 years old, but it still pulls more museum selfies than modern celebrities. I guess that's a joke. Nefertiti is, of course, correct. Nefertiti. 1370 to 1330 BC. There she is. Yeah, she is kind of attractive. For an AI Egyptian. All right, now we've used this lady's name in vain already. Quite beautiful, though. She took on male titles and wore the false beard of a king. She wore that fake beard thing. She ruled Egypt for over 2 decades of peace and prosperity. There you go. She focused on trade and building projects. Her stepson, that Mosi guy, tried to erase her legacy. Oh, she's a baddie. So it wasn't her fault. Most powerful female pharaoh in Egyptian history. Now, who knows who this is? We just were talking about her. Who knows? She's the evil stepmother. She doesn't look that evil to me. I don't know. Going once. Who knows? We're going to give you a little time for the slow internet. Rosemary. I don't know who that is. Rosemary. Oh, no. But how about Hatshepsut? Hatshepsut. Hatshepsut. This is her. Her trade missions brought back exotic animals and incense trees, making her not just a builder, but a botanical trendsetter. There you go. Well, we're down to the top 2 Egyptians. Top 2. Should be able to get them both. See how you do. Number 2. Now, this gentleman ruled for over 60 years, and he fathered over 100 children. Busy man. One more than Elon. He built colossal monuments, including Abu Simbel. Abu Simbel. He led the Battle of Kadesh and signed one of the earliest peace treaties. He is revered as the great ancestor by later rulers. He is also known as something the Great. He also has a number. No, we already did Thutmose. He was Hatshepsut's evil stepson. He was a good general though too. He won some battles as well. But this is the greatest one. This is the great. Somebody the great. He also has a number. Now, this is an Alexander. And I'll tell you what, his number is two. Two. This is Ramses. Ramses the Great or Ramses II. There he is. Yeah, greatest pharaoh by some. Now, number one is the most famous for a reason. Now, little is known about his life, but his legacy towers over Egypt. He ruled during Egypt's old kingdom. He commissioned the most famous structure on earth. The Great Pyramid of Giza bears his mark. His reign is immortalized in stone. All right, who knows who this is? I think Doctor was trying to get it on the last one. But he has another name. Ramses the First is a good guess. Good guess, but incorrect. Who built the pyramids? Anybody know who built the pyramids? It's as simple as that. Who's the pharaoh who built the pyramids? Old Kingdom guy. He has two names. One of the names is the name that Doctor thought last time. The last guy, that Ramses, but that's just one name, Doctor. Yes. But what's his other name? His other more official Egyptian name? I think Cheops is like the Greek name, maybe? Not sure. How about Khufu? Khufu, Khufu. Khufu. Yeah, look, he's pissed. He's telling those slaves to get to work. Well, that was a little harder than I thought it was. I don't know if that's a harbinger things to come tonight or not. Now listen, I have a new little intermission segment. Each intermission lasts about 2 minutes. And what it is it's actually another robot speed painting, but there's no clues. We'll just have appropriate music. And it is a important historic event is the category. So let me fire that up and see how you guys like that, or don't. Well, that gave us actually a official little break. So if you needed a visit to the restroom or any get another drink or anything, you had a couple minutes there. So hopefully that works out for you. We'll do a couple more of those. Anyway, here we go. Top 10 figures from ancient Greece. Top 10 figures from ancient Greece. A couple of these are going to be a little hard too. Pay attention to the clues. Now, this lady was born in Miletus, not Athens, but she became one of the most influential women in Athens. The year was 470 to 410 BC. She was associated with some of the greatest minds of her time. So what she's most known for, she ran a salon where philosophers and politicians debated ideas. Not a hair salon, a philosophical salon. She was criticized and admired for her role in Athenian politics. Well, look, Alex is here. Hey, they turned the internet back on in Russia, huh? What's going on, man? They turned the internet off on you? Anyway, this is the lifelong companion of Pericles, if that helps. She was a companion of Pericles. She ran the salon where all the philosophers used to hang out in Athens. Anybody know who this is? Famous Greek lady. Hey, what's going on, man? Anyway, her name is Aspasia. Aspasia, pretty lady. Aspasia. There you go. You don't remember that, huh? We've done all these a few times, but, I understand. You don't remember everything. All right, this is a fairly famous Greek gentleman, ancient Greek. And if you listen to the clues, you might get it. Now, he founded a secretive religious mathematical brotherhood. A religious mathematical brotherhood. He believed numbers were the essence of all things. He forbade his followers from eating beans. Seriously. He didn't like that. His theorem is still taught in high schools worldwide. There you go. Doctor. I don't know about that spelling exactly, but Oh, there you go. No, that is pretty close spelling actually. That's it. I think that second time. That second time is it. A squared plus B squared equals C squared, of course. This is the guy. You are correct. This is Mr. Pythagoras. 570 to 495 BC. Some of his followers worship numbers like gods and believe the universe sang, "Welcome to the original math cult." He ran a math cult. Pythagoras. There he is. He doesn't look that smart. I don't know. Something in the eyes. All right, here's another famous ancient Greek guy. Now, this is the one who wrote over 90 plays. As you remember, the ancient Greeks were the ones who started the whole theater thing. Only 18 of the plays are around today. We can't find the rest of them. They probably weren't that good. He preferred flawed, psychologically complex characters. His work often challenged the gods and social norms. He's known for Medea. I don't think the movie Medea. The Bacchae, and Hippolytus. One of the three great tragedians of Athens. Gotta say that three times. Tragedians of Athens. So he wrote tragedies. Who's the most famous Greek tragedy play guy? Not Shakespeare. Although I like that, Doctor. You were working it into a Greek version of Shakespeare. This is not Shakespeare. This is a Greek guy. This is way before Shakespeare. This is who Shakespeare wishes he was like. He liked flawed characters. Anybody know? Euripides. Euripides. That's not familiar. Athenians often booed at his plays. There you go. I guess it would just, you go to the theater, you get, you're allowed to boo, I guess. All right, here's another famous Greek guy, number 7. This guy was the leader during Athens' golden age. This is 495 to 429 BC. He strengthened democracy and expanded the empire. He oversaw massive construction, including the Parthenon. So this guy was in charge when they built the Parthenon. And he delivered a famous speech called the funeral oration. I don't know if that was Socrates' funeral. I'm not sure. His era is named after him. His era is named after him. How about that? He sounds like an important guy. He was the leader when they built the Parthenon. There's the Parthenon in the background. He's leading building. Oh, he's doing the oration at the funeral. Oh, anybody know? It's a famous Greek guy. I can tell you that. How about Pericles? Pericles. I thought he was just a myth. No. Not a myth. Pericles had such a long head, he always wore a helmet in statues, either out of modesty or to cover the ancient version of a weird hat hair problem. That's interesting. Wonder how the robots knew about that. Anyway, okay. Let's do another famous Greek guy. Ancient Grecian. Now, this guy traveled the ancient world collecting stories. So he's a story writer. His writings are a blend of fact, legend, and hearsay. He wrote about the Greco-Persian Wars in detail. Not Dorian, not Aesop. The original writer guy. Before all those guys. Sometimes doubted, but endlessly quoted. Now here's the key. Here's the key clue. Ready? Not Homer. Homer's a good guess, but not Homer. This guy is the father of history. Who's the father of history? Anybody know? Father of history. There's it. How about Herodotus? Herodotus is the father of history. That's not familiar to anybody. No, guess not. Herodotus loved a good tall tale. His histories included gold digging, ants, and flying snakes. There he is, telling about flying snakes. Herodotus. Yeah. All right, I bet you know the next guy. I bet you know him. Number 5. Top 5. Now, this gentleman trained as a Spartan warrior since childhood. He led a small force at a narrow mountain pass. He became a symbol of heroic last stands. He died fighting overwhelming Persian forces at Thermopylae. Battle of Thermopylae. Who remembers the movie? What's the famous movie he's in? He famously told his men, "Eat well, for tonight we dine in Hades." There you go, Doctor. And you're kind of right, Alex. He's definitely a Spartan. Leonidas the First is correct, 480 BC. Thanks to Hollywood, Leonidas shouts, "This is Sparta!" Kicks the guy down the hole. Forever in meme history, even though probably he never actually said that. That's disappointing. This is Sparta! I don't know. Doesn't look like such a bad guy. Top four Greeks. You guys ready? I bet you know them all. Let's just see if you can get them now. Now, this is a very famous Greek guy. He founded a school that lasted over 900 years. Obviously, he didn't last 900 years. He was the student of another famous man. And he was the teacher of another famous man. He wrote dialogues featuring Socrates as a central figure. So he wrote about Socrates. He obsessed with ideal forms and the nature of reality. There you go, Doctor. He is possibly the most famous philosopher. What do you guys think? He is the founder of something called the Academy. The Academy. And you are correct, Doctor. This is Mr. Plato, or Plato if you prefer. 428 to 348 BC. And Plato may not even be his real name. It means broad, possibly a nod to his shoulders or his big ideas. So Plato wasn't his real name. Now that's disappointing. I didn't need to know that. Yeah, Plato's Retreat. That's a famous place. You ever been there, Doctor? All right. Let's do the top three. Top three. Now, this gentleman wrote on everything from logic to biology. Prolific. And he is the tutor of a future world conqueror. He opened a school called the Lyceum. Lyceum. L-Y-C-E-U-M. Lyceum. His works dominated medieval science for centuries. So this was the guy through the whole Middle Ages. This is who they based all their science on. Yes, you got it, Doctor. You know the Greeks. You know all your famous philosophers and scientists. Well, you are a doctor. So you got that going for you. Yes, you're correct. Aristotle. This is Mr. Aristotle. Aristotle invented so many disciplines that if he were around today, he'd probably have his own university. Or he'd be banned from Wikipedia for over-editing. I guess that's a joke. I don't know. Aristotle. There it is. That means we've only got two left. Two famous Greek guys left. All right. Never been to Plato's Retreat, huh? Yeah, I don't think I've been there yet. Not that I remember. Seems like a place you'd remember if you went. All right, number 2. He never wrote anything down himself. He never wrote anything. He was famous for asking endless questions. Now, this is the guy that was put on trial for corrupting the youth of Athens. That's a bad man. A bad man. He ended up drinking poison rather than the other option they gave him. It was to flee in exile. And he said, no, I'll drink the poison. Yes. 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 You are correct. Hemlock. He is considered the father of Western philosophy. And you are correct. It is Mr. Socrates. He's the one who taught Plato, right? Yeah. Socrates annoyed so many people with his questions that Athens sentenced him to death. It wasn't the corrupting the youth of Athens. Might have been that. Making him history's most famous victim of too much critical thinking. There he is. Socrates. Asking too many questions. Well, that leaves our most famous Greek gentleman, Macedonian to be precise. This gentleman became king at the age of 20, and he was dead by the time he was 32. He never lost a battle in his entire military career. 100-0. He created an empire stretching from Greece to India. And he was tutored by Aristotle. This is the guy that was tutored by Aristotle. He is one of the most legendary conquerors in world history. And our number 1 Greek. Our number 1 ancient Greek. Iskander, no. Oh, yeah, I guess. Anyway, we all know this is Mr. Alexander the Great. Alexander the Great, of course. King at 20, dead at 22. When asked if he wanted to name his successor, Alexander allegedly said, "To the strongest." I don't know what this means. That went well. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. That's what I thought you. I thought you were saying something like that. There you go. Alexander. All right. Well, we did the Greeks. I don't know. You didn't do much better on the Greeks than you did on the Egyptians. Maybe a little bit. Let's do another historic event with no clues. How's that sound? There I am. All right. Well, note the custom music to each of those. In theory, the music is supposed to go with the historical event. All right, let's do top 10 figures from ancient Rome now. Now, these are more infamous characters from ancient Rome. Okay, here we go. Number 10. Although some are just famous. I don't know. Listen to the clues. This gentleman was born in Arpinium, far from Rome's traditional elite. But he did rise to prominence as a lawyer and an orator. He championed the Republic during its collapse. He opposed Mark Antony, and he paid dearly for it. His speeches and letters still influence political thought. So this was all going on, right at the end of the Republic, right when Julius Caesar got killed, all that stuff was going on. Doctor, you're actually very close, Doctor. Script Pro. Isn't that the Charles Bronson character or no? No. You are very close. The lawyer, he wrote about the fall of the Republic. He was trying to save the Republic. And you're very close. His name is Cicero. Cicero. That sound familiar? Cicero's severed hands and tongue were nailed to the Senate door. Nice. I guess Mark Antony didn't like what he had to say. Number 9. With that, let's move on. All right, I think you know this guy. He fought to become sole emperor after years of civil war. Now, let me give you the years. 272 to 337 AD, CE. So now this isn't BC now, this is long after that last deal. He legalized Christianity with an Edict of Milan, the Edict of Milan. He founded a new capital city on the Bosphorus. He is the first Christian Roman emperor. No, not Caesar. There you go, Doctor. Very good. And do you know what? They call this guy the Great. I think he had a son that was later just Constantine. I'm not sure. This is Constantine the Great. Constantine's new capital, which was obviously Constantinople, Istanbul, stood for over 1,100 years. So, nice job rebranding the Roman Empire. Constantine the Great. There he is. He's a happy guy. I would be too if I was emperor. All right. This lady's infamous in Roman lore. 15 to 59 AD. So right after the fall of the Republic, start of the empire. She's the daughter of a general, the niece of an emperor, and she was married to an emperor, and a mother to another emperor. She married her uncle to consolidate power. Now, she is fiercely ambitious. She ruled behind the scenes. And her son grew increasingly paranoid and eventually had her killed. her own son. This one's the mother of Nero. This is Nero's mom, and Nero's the one who killed her. Who remembers that lady's name? Anne Boleyn. Very good. Same story, right? Famous Roman. Married her uncle. Was killed by her son. She was a schemer. She was a schemer, and she paid for it. Anybody remember who this is? She's one of these, younger, elder people. She is a younger. Blank the younger. She is. Look at her. She's devious. Agrippina the younger. Agrippina the younger. All right, learn something every day on Dave's After Dark. After you have a couple shots, start learning. All right, another famous Roman. Famous Roman, not an emperor. This gentleman rose from humble origins in northern Italy. He was patronized by Augustus to write a national epic. So Augustus, the first, emperor of the empire, number one emperor, hired him to write a story. He wrote the Aeneid. I don't know how you pronounce that. Aeneid. Aeneid, linking Rome to the Trojan myth. It took 10 years to write, and he wanted it burned. He was considered Rome's greatest poet. All right, there it is. Rome. Who was Rome's greatest poet? There's the key clip. Anybody know? There he is. Looks just like him. These are accurate. Fortunately, with a lot of these things, they know what they look like nowadays. It's pretty cool. That's him. Even though we don't have photographic evidence. Anybody remember the greatest poet of Rome? How about Virgil? That sound familiar to anybody? Virgil. Virgil's dying wish was to destroy the story he wrote. Luckily, Augustus ignored him. There you go. All right. We're down to number 6. The 6th most famous or infamous person from the Roman Empire. Oh, you had it, Doctor. Very good. Slow internet. We're dealing with, we deal with it. Part of the game. All right, you know who this is. This is the guy who conquered Gaul and wrote about it in third person. Yeah, you are correct, Doctor. This is the guy who crossed the Rubicon to start the Civil War. He was declared dictator for life. Or he declared himself dictator for life, which was a bad idea, because that meant his life wasn't going to last too long. He was assassinated by senators on the Ides of March. He famously said, "Et tu, Brute." I guess what's that mean? What it means? Sup, Brutus. Sup, Brutus. Correct. Yes. This is Mr. Julius Caesar. 100 to 44 BC. The end of the Republic. Caesar had to borrow a ton of money to get into politics, proving even world domination sometimes starts with a sketchy loan. All right, we're moving on. You know this guy, he's an emperor. And he did become emperor at the age of 17. But the power went straight to his head. He blamed Christians for a massive fire in Rome. He looks a lot like Gavin Newsom, too. Coincidentally. He's known for cruelty, paranoia, and artistic delusions. He allegedly performed theater while Rome burned. I thought he played the fiddle. Didn't they say he played the fiddle while Rome burned? I think so. He actually committed suicide, famously saying, "What an artist dies in need." I didn't know he committed suicide. There you go. This is the guy who fiddled while Rome burned. This is the guy who killed his own mom. Who knows who this is? This is the guy that looks like Gavin Newsom, who also fiddled while LA burned. Okay, I'm getting too political. Back it up. This, of course, is Nero. There he is, Nero. Yeah, not a happy guy. Not happy at all. All right. Let's move on. Let's do the top 4. Now, we've talked about this guy a little bit already. He was born with the name Gaius Octavius, and he was adopted by Julius Caesar. I don't know if you remember that whole system of, because the emperor's kids weren't always the greatest, so they adopted lots of promising boys so that one of them could become the emperor later. He defeated Mark Antony and Cleopatra at Actium. This is the guy who, with the boats and everything at Actium. Yeah. He reshaped Rome's government without calling himself king. Yeah. You got it. Dog. He launched the Pax Romana, 200 years of relative peace. So, with Augustus was the start of the empire, and 200 years of relative peace. Relative, of course. He is the first emperor of Rome. First emperor of Rome. And you are correct. This is Mr. Augustus. Gaius Octavius Augustus. Yes. Augustus claimed he found Rome a city of brick and left it a city of marble. There you go, Mr. Augustus. Yeah, successful. All right, top 3 Romans. Let's do them. Top 3 Romans. Oh, no, this was one of the bad emperors. Might have been just before Nero. Can't remember. He was nicknamed Little Boots as a child by the soldiers. He began his reign popular, but it quickly unraveled. This is the guy who made his horse a priest. Yes. This is the guy who they made the X-rated movie about. You guys see that movie? Speaking of Plato's Retreat. Speaking of Plato's Retreat. He's known for cruelty, lavish spending, and instability. And he was assassinated by his own guards. So, nobody liked him. Nobody liked him. Yep. This is Caligula. I forget. I'm trying to think how old I was. I was like 19 or 20 years old when that movie came out in college. And we certainly went to see that movie. You know, 19 or 20. All right. Number 2 with a bullet. You know this guy. He's the good emperor. This is the good emperor, this guy. He's the philosopher king with a stoic worldview. He spent much of his reign at war on the frontiers, up in Germany. His book, Meditations, was never meant for publication. He is known as the last of the 5 good emperors. Now this is after the little run of bad emperors. And this guy was born in 121 and died in 180 AD. He ruled with wisdom and restraint. Wisdom? Who's the wisdom and restraint? The stoic worldview guy. Yes, doctor. Of course. There's only one good emperor. Although it says the last of the 5 good emperors. I guess there were a few other ones, right? Like Hadrian. Who else? A few other ones, right? Not many. Marcus Aurelius is correct. Marcus Aurelius' personal journal became a bestseller 2,000 years later. Talk about timeless content. There he is. Marcus Aurelius. Marcus Aurelius. All right, now this last one's pretty interesting. So it's not an emperor. Not an emperor. But a famous Roman nonetheless. I guess he actually wasn't Roman, but he was in Rome. He was originally a soldier, and then he became a gladiator. And this is the guy who escaped with 70 men and sparked a massive rebellion of the gladiators. And he defeated Roman legions with a slave army. He fought bravely, but was ultimately cornered and killed. So it didn't end well. The rebellion didn't end well. Never does against the Romans. Never does. Never ends well. He became a symbol of resistance and freedom. Yeah. Go. You know your Romans. He's not a Roman, but Roman figure. Yeah, Alex. And he was played by Kirk Douglas. Michael Douglas' father. Spartacus has inspired books, films, and a certain scene where everyone suddenly claims to be him. I am Spartacus. There it is. Spartacus. All right. Those are the Romans. They did pretty good. All right. That means we have another intermission quiz. We all look forward to the intermission quizzes. If for no other reason than to go get another cocktail. That one was too easy, huh? Oh, of course, was the Wright brothers flying the first airplane. Not all that long ago, right? All right. That means it's time for top 10 European figures of the Middle Ages. Middle Ages. So most of these won't be too hard. This first one is a little hard. Listen to the clues. Good luck. This is a Roman philosopher during the time of Gothic rule. So this is like 500 AD, right after the Roman Empire fell. He was in prison for political intrigue. He wrote one of the most influential books of the Middle Ages. So even though it's at the beginning of the Middle Ages, it was an important book. He blended Greek philosophy with early Christian thought. He was the author of something called The Consolation of Philosophy. Who wrote that? Anyone know? I don't know what you're typing there, Alex, but it looks right. No, maybe. Not Augustine. Good guess. Whatever Alex wrote, it's probably it. So, I hate to admit to this, but before I did this little show, I never heard of this guy. It is Boethius. 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 Boethius wrote his masterpiece while awaiting execution. Talk about making the most of a bad situation. All right, that's the hard one. Let's do an easy one. Number 9. You'll know this one. Stuart would know this one. This gentleman was born into minor Scottish nobility, whatever that is. He led a guerrilla war against the English occupation of Scotland. Scotland, not Ireland. He won a stunning victory at the Battle of Stirling Bridge. He was betrayed and unfortunately executed in London. He's the icon of the Scottish resistance. Yes, you are correct, Doctor. This is him, Mel Gibson. Of course, it's Mel Gibson. Otherwise known as William Wallace. 1270 to 1305 AD. He may not have yelled freedom at his execution, but Mel Gibson did. Yes, he did. There you go. All right, told you you'd know that one. Now, remember, we're doing famous figures from the Middle Ages. So, there he is, William Wallace. Doesn't seem all that bad, right? Red hair. So, remember when we did the Greeks, there were like writers and philosophers and all those kind of people. So number 8, worked as a diplomat and a customs agent. And he drew inspiration from Boccaccio. I don't know how to say that Italian. And French poetry. Italian and French poetry. He wrote about knights, nuns, and drunk millers. He helped legitimize the English vernacular in literature. And here's the key clue. He is the author of the Canterbury Tales. The author of the Canterbury Tales. Now, who wrote that? Yeah, there you go. Yeah. You know Mr. Chaucer's first name? I don't know if I did before this. I might not have. Chaucer is correct. Mr. Geoffrey Chaucer. Geoffrey Chaucer, 1343 to 1400 even. It's always good to go out on an even number, right? Chaucer never finished his famous tale collection. Like many writers, he died before making the deadline. Oh, bummer. Yeah, good thing the doctor, I told you, it's always good to have a doctor in the house. Always. All right, we're doing the Middle Ages, remember? Another middle-aged character, 849 to 899 for this gentleman. And he fought off the Viking invasion with grit and strategy. He promoted education and literature, or literacy, in his kingdom. He translated Latin texts into English. He's known for uniting parts of England under one rule. He is the first king of the Anglo-Saxons. Who knows who that was? Kind of looks like a Viking. I guess they all looked like that back in that day. It's the weather. They all rode on those boats. Arthur King. Well, this is not King Arthur, not King Edward. It's somebody the Great. Somebody the Great. Somebody the Great. Legend says he once burned some cakes while hiding from the Vikings, proving even great kings forget the oven timer. This is Alfred the Great. Learn something every day on Dave's After Dark. Yes, Alfred, you're correct. All right, now I'm not sure I heard of this lady, but she was apparently big in the Middle Ages. She is the Duchess, Queen of France. Oh, she was a Duchess. Then she was the Queen of France. And then she was the Queen of England. She actually took part in the Second Crusade. Tough lady. She was imprisoned for backing her sons in rebellion. Now, here's a key clue. This is the mother of Richard the Lionhearted and King John. Sounds like she was well placed. She's one of the most powerful women in medieval Europe. And I never heard of her. I need to read up on my Middle Ages. My goodness. Anybody know who this is? Duchess, Queen of France, Queen of England, mother of Richard the Lionhearted. She's an all-star in every way. Except on our show. This is Eleanor of Aquitaine. Eleanor of Aquitaine. There she is. Pretty lady. Yeah. All right. Well, this is somebody that was related to her. The next one, number 5. Most important people in the Middle Ages. Now, this guy preferred battlefields to bureaucracy. So he preferred being out in the field. He didn't like being cooped up in the office. He led Christian forces during the Third Crusade. So he got out of Dodge and went to the Crusade. He didn't like the paperwork. He's known for his chivalry, unless you were on the losing side. Yeah. He spent more time abroad than in England. He is the famous warrior king of England. Yes, doctor, you are correct, and it is Richard V. 1157 to 1199. This is not Henry VIII. This is Richard the Richard spoke little English. He spent only 6 months in England and still made the branding team proud. Yeah, didn't even speak English. Right, doctor, you're correct. Richard the Lionheart. Yeah, there you go. Or the Lionhearted. However you like to say that. Richard the Lionheart is correct. Good job, guys. All right. Top 4, Middle Ages. It's a tough period. Tough crowd. All right. Number 4. You guys are going to remember these forever, though, right? Now, this gentleman joined the Dominican order against his family wishes. He studied under Albertus Magnus, whoever that is. He synthesized Aristotle with Christian theology, kind of blended it. He was canonized by the church after his death. And he wrote something called Summa Theologica. Summa Theologica. Now, I knew this guy. I hate to tell you, I knew this one. 1225 to 1274, joined the Dominican, wrote the Summa Theologica, very important, synthesized Aristotle with Christian theology, canonized by the church after his death. Nah, St. Augustine is a good guess. It's incorrect. Incorrect. This is another famous religious guy. His classmates called him the dumb ox due to his size and silence. There you go. This is Mr. Thomas Aquinas. Thomas Aquinas. That sound familiar to anybody? All right. So apologies on the picture here. You're kind of starting with somebody and ending with somebody else here. The robots are a little out of control right now. But that's all right. Let's go with it. It's changing before our eyes. This is the teenage peasant girl who turned military leader. She claimed divine visions told her to drive out the English. This is the gal who helped crown Charles VII in Reims. Unfortunately, she was captured and tried for heresy, and she was burned at the stake. Yeah, the previous one, you hang on to that answer, for it's coming up. But who is this one? Yeah, it was those crazy robots. Started with one picture and ended with another. They did a meld. Correct you are. There she is. Another attractive Middle Ages lady. Joan led armies in full armor by the age of 17, and she wore men's clothing to prison. Not bad for a teenager from a farm. There she is, Joan of Arc. All right. So you've already seen the finished picture. So you know the next one. Damn, you guys cheat all the time. Can't keep you guys from cheating. Dang. All right, this guy united much of Western Europe under his rule. That fits, doesn't it? He was crowned Emperor of the Romans by the Pope. He promoted learning and church reform. And he ruled the Carolinian Empire. He's known as the father of Europe. There you go, Rob. See, Rob didn't cheat. He came in and got the correct answer. There you go. Charlemagne. That's him. That's him. United much of Western Europe under his rule. Charlemagne couldn't write, but he surrounded himself with scholars and jump-started the Carolinian Renaissance. There you go. He's the one who started the whole AI thing. All right. Well, the robots got a little mixed up there, but it's okay. You know, a little lightness to the round. To an otherwise difficult round. Okay. Now remember, sometimes we do a poet or a writer. And this gentleman is Middle Ages, 1265 to 1321. Florentine poet, exiled for political reasons. Now, this is the guy who was obsessed with a woman named Beatrice. Do you remember that? He wrote his masterwork in the Tuscan dialect. I'm familiar. He described a journey through hell, purgatory, and paradise. Now, this is the author of the little book called The Divine Comedy, a journey through hell, purgatory, and paradise. Correct. Do you remember what Dante was actually his first name? Remember what Dante's last name was? Yes, I didn't know his last name. He just goes by Dante. He's one of those like Usher, Prince, Madonna, Dante, Bieber. No, that's Justin Bieber. Oh, his last name was Alighieri. Alighieri. Alighiri. Alighieri. Dante. Beatrice. Obsessed with Beatrice. Yeah. There you go. Huh, guess what? We've got one more intermission quiz. Let's do it. Yes, the moon landing. Correct. I can't remember the date either. July, what? July like 9th or something? 1969? July, right? July something. Can't remember. It wasn't July 4th, I don't think. Yeah. Anyway, that concludes our intermission. We now have one more round. We have the top 10 explorers from the Age of Discovery. Now, you know the rules. Robots do painting. You do the guessing, and I give you some clues along the way. Now, I bet we can get most of these explorers. I bet we can get most of these. Let's see. What do you think of the art? Huh? Yeah, kind of cool. All right, here we go. Top 10 explorers from the Age of Discovery. Number 10 is pretty cool. Got a cool guy. He fought in the Spanish conquest of Hispaniola. He did become the first governor of Puerto Rico. Yeah. He explored southeastern North America. Well, around my part, around my neighborhood. His name is forever tied to a mythical spring. Not DeSoto, good guess. Not DeSoto. His name is forever tied to a mythical spring. He is credited with the discovery of Florida. Florida. And look, you got the spring there. Not Cortez. While he probably wasn't actually searching for the Fountain of Youth, his name still sells spa treatments and bottled water. This is the Fountain of Youth guy. Anybody remember? Starts with M. No, it doesn't. It rhymes with him. There he is. Juan Ponce de Leon. Juan Ponce de Leon. Ponce de Leon. There you go. You know, I don't know if they get easier or not. They get harder for a little while. All right, number 9. Speaking of harder, this gentleman sailed under the Portuguese flag, not Spanish. And he commanded a daring voyage into the unknown south. He's the first to round Africa's southern tip. First guy to go around Africa's southern tip. He did prove it was possible to reach the Indian Ocean by sea. So he's the one who opened the Cape of Good Hope route. Not a Henry. There is an M in his first name, in the middle of it. There is an M in the middle of his first name. He's got a cool first name, actually. And then a simple Spanish, although he's Portuguese. Or he sailed for Portuguese. I think he's Spanish, but he sailed for Portugal. Anybody know? This is Bartholomew Diaz. Diaz's name in the Cape of Storms, but the king rebranded it the Cape of Good Hope. It was called the Cape of Storms originally, proving spin control existed even in the 15th century. There he is, Bartholomew Diaz. Yeah, Prince something. All right, let's change areas. This guy was born a Muslim in Yunnan, China. Yunnan, China. Interesting. He was captured as a child and castrated. But he still rose through the ranks. He didn't have any distractions. He led 7 massive treasure fleet voyages across the Indian Ocean. So those Chinese had huge boats. I don't know if you're aware of that. But their boats were big boats. So they were good at sailing on the open sea, actually. He visited Africa, Arabia, Southeast Asia, decades before Columbus even thought about stuff like that. He was an admiral of China's Ming Dynasty. His flagship was over 400 feet long, larger than an American football field, and nearly 5 times the size of Columbus's largest ship. Sun Hui Chai. No. You just typed a bunch of Chinese letters there, Alex. Zheng He. Z-H-E-N-G-H-E. Zheng He. Zheng He. Learn something every day on Dave's After Dark. All right, you know this guy. Number 7. You've heard of him. His first name rhymes with America. Try not. He's an Italian merchant and navigator in the service of Spain and Portugal. He explored the South American coastline. Did you know that? He realized the lands were not part of Asia, but a new world. He's the one who knew it was a new world. He wrote popular travel letters and captured Europe's imagination. The Americas are named after this guy. There you go, Doctor. Doctor's back in the house, making a house call. Amerigo Vespucci is correct. Amerigo Vespucci. Columbus discovered it, but Amerigo got the naming rights. Proof that writing good PR still pays off. Yet he wrote all the stuff, so because he wrote everything, they put it down. America. Poor Christopher Columbus. Oh, yes. Amerigo Vespucci. He's Italian. Columbus was Italian too, right? I think so. Yeah. Okay, number 6. Let's go. Let's move on. Another Italian-born gentleman, but his name's not Italian, sailed under the English crown. Hey, these guys all sailed for different crowns. He aimed for Asia, but he landed in Newfoundland instead. Canada, our 51st state. He claimed parts of North America for England. Little is known about his later voyages. This is the gentleman who paved the way for Britain's later colonization. So the interesting thing is this is before Columbus that this guy was sailing. 1450 to 1499. Not Christopher Columbus. Kind of looks like Chris. Kind of looks like him a little bit. But this is the Italian guy who actually his name is English and he sailed for the English. And it was actually before Columbus. John Cabot. Does that sound familiar to anybody? John Cabot? Google that. Cabot's second voyage just vanished, giving him a mysterious edge in the history of vanished ships. Huh, interesting. I think it's something to do with the Indians, I'd say. Yeah, okay. John Cabot. That's him. Little did you know. All right, now you probably have heard of this next guy. I do have his middle name, which is we usually don't have. So we'll see if the doctor can get his full name correct or not. Good job, doctor, on the Henry Cabot. Only it's John Cabot, not Henry Cabot. All right, who's this guy? He fled creditors in Spain to settle in the New World. He was escaping the tax guys. He helped establish a colony in present-day Panama. So this is the key thing. This is the first guy to cross the isthmus to the Pacific Ocean. He's the first European to see the Pacific from the Americas. And of course, he claimed all of it for Spain. The Pacific Ocean, the isthmus, Panama, all for Spain. Fred J. Muggs is not correct. Anybody know who's the first guy to see the Pacific Ocean? You guys should know that. No. He used war dogs in battle. And unfortunately, he got decapitated by a rival. He used war dogs. That's cool. This is Mr. Vasco Nunez de Balboa. Vasco Nunez de Balboa. Yeah, told you that whole name was a little tricky. Balboa. All right, there you go. That's what the place in Newport, that's why it's called Balboa. Right there, Balboa. All right, top four. Here we go. Number 4. You've heard of this guy. He's a Portuguese explorer who sailed for Spain. Another one of these guys. Don't trust him. Don't trust him. He wanted to reach Asia by sailing west around South America. He was right. He discovered the strait now bearing his name. Unfortunately, he died in the Philippines mid-voyage. His expedition was the first to circumnavigate the globe. He just didn't make it all the way. Sandra, there you go. There you go. You are correct. Who knows Mr. Magellan's first name? Anybody know? He doesn't have like 4 names. Only one other name. One first name. Magellan didn't actually make it all the way around, but his crew did. I don't know why he still gets the credit, but Ferdinand Magellan. Ferdinand Magellan. There you go. First to circumnavigate the globe, but he didn't make it, so I don't know. There's got to be a little asterisk in the history book there. Ferdinand's an asterisk. Yes, there's the M. All right, this guy's pretty cool. He's the illiterate son of a soldier born in Spain. Auspicious start. He sailed to the New World seeking wealth and glory. Now, he kidnapped an emperor and demanded a room full of gold. He conquered the Inca Empire with a few hundred men. And he's actually the one who founded the city of Lima, Peru. So who's the guy who conquered the Inca Empire? The Spanish conquistador. Who knows? Doesn't start with an M. He was assassinated by his own former allies in a bloody power struggle. So karma tends to catch up with you in the end. But who is it? Who conquered the Inca? Anybody remember? You'll know it. Conquistador. Francisco Pizarro. Francisco Pizarro. There you go. Conquered the Incas. And he died in 1541. Right in the heyday of all that Spanish exploration. And he comes in at number 3 on our list. Yeah. All right. Learn something every day. Number 2. We've only got 2 left. 2 left. Famous explorers. So I think you know them both. You know them both. I've seen both names on the board already tonight. This gentleman studied law before seeking fame in Americas. I knew there was something I didn't like about this guy. He landed with a small force on the coast of Mexico. He formed alliances with the indigenous enemies of the Aztecs. This is the guy who captured the Aztec capital of Tenochtitlan. Tenochtitlan. He's the conqueror of the Aztec Empire. Who is it? Who am I? I think you know this one. I think you know this one. I think the slow internet's catching up with us on our answers on this one. Yes, indeed. This is, I know you all know it, and we just are having a slow internet. Hernan Cortez. 1485 to 1547. Cortez sank his own ships to prevent his people from retreating. There he is. Hernan Cortez. Cocky bastard. All right. So that means we only have one left. So who is that? Who could that be? Who could our last number 1 Spanish explorer? Although he's not Spanish. He was born in Genoa, Italy. He sought a westward sea route to Asia. He persuaded Spain's monarchs to fund his voyage. And he reached the Caribbean, or Caribbean if you prefer, in 1492. Sailed the ocean blue, 1492. His voyage opened the new world to Europe. Colombo, Cristobal Colon. I can't remember. Did Trump bring back Columbus Day? Because I think we stopped celebrating that. I'm not sure. Like a bank holiday still, though, I think. You know, they take off for everything. Columbus never realized he discovered new continents. He died thinking he found Asia. Geography was still a work in progress. There he is, Christopher Columbus, number 1 on our famous explorer list. Well, you know, that was kind of a half a dozen of one, half a dozen another. We got a few of them. All right, well, I think we suffered a little bit from a slow internet tonight. That's unfortunate, but thank you guys for hanging out with me tonight. We did a historical figure theme night. Did you guys like the intermission things at all, or is there a type of intermission quiz you prefer more? Yeah. Yes. Well, anyway, I do have a compilation of all those cool little videos from the ends of each one of our things. So we have 50 of our famous people, historic figures that you can watch here as we close up the show tonight. So, hope you enjoy.
The night wears heels, she struts alone. This bar's the place I call my home. I sip the swallow pride. for a shadow to take shape.